The Senate will come to order. Mr. Schaffler, please call the roll.
Senators Amabile, Baisley, Ball, Benavidez, Bridges, Bright, Carson, Catlin, Cutter, Danielson,
Excused.
Doherty, Exum, Frizzell, Gonzalez, Hendrickson, Judah, Kipp, Kirkmeyer, Colker, Lindstedt, Liston, Marchman, Mullica, Pelton B, Pelton R, Rich, Roberts, Rodriguez, Simpson, Snyder, Sullivan, Wallace, Weissman, Zamora Wilson. Mr. President.
Let's do this. The morning roll calls 34 present, 0 absent, 1 excused. We have a quorum. Senator Kirkmeyer, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Thank you, Mr. President. Would everyone please stand? The pledge. I said pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of the journal. Senator Lindstedt.
Mr. Majority Leader. Mr. Majority.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate Journal of Monday, April 27, 2026, be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
You heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. No. Man, but for some weird reason, the ayes have it every time that motion is adopted. Senate Services.
Correctly printed, Senate Bill 180 and 181, Senate Resolution 8, correctly engrossed, Senate Bill 131, 134, 142, and 166, correctly re-engrossed, Senate Bill 116, 135, 160, 163, and 169, correctly revised, House Bill 1019 and 1318, correctly re-revised, House Bill 1008, 1009, 1053, 1088, 1288, and 1320, correctly enrolled, Senate Bill 95 and 120.
Committee reports.
Committee on Education, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1006 be amended as follows, and as so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Committee on Judiciary, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1312 be amended as follows, and as so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1322 be amended as follows, and as so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1290 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation and with a recommendation that it be placed in the consent calendar. House Bill 1052 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation and with a recommendation that it be placed in the consent calendar. Committee on Transportation and Energy, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 172 be amended as follows, and as so amended be referred to the Committee on Appropriations with favorable recommendation. Committee on Appropriations, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 17 be amended as follows, and as so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 45 be amended as follows, and as so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 91 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 114 be amended as follows, and as so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 115 be amended as follows, and as so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 154 be amended as follows, and as so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation and with a recommendation that it be placed in the consent calendar. Senate Bill 156 be amended as follows, and as so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation and with a recommendation that it be placed placed on the consent calendar. Senate Bill 157 be amended as follows, and is so amended be referred to the committee of the whole with favorable recommendation and with the recommendation that it be placed on the consent calendar. Senate Bill 170 be referred to the committee of the whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1123 be referred to the committee of the whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1214 be referred to the committee of the whole with favorable recommendation and with the recommendation that it be placed on the consent calendar. House Bill 1242 be referred to the committee of the whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1258 be amended as follows, and as so be amended, be referred to the committee of the whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1260 be referred to the committee of the whole with favorable recommendation and with the recommendation that it be placed in the consent calendar.
Okay, okay. Conference committee reports. Mr. Majority Leader.
No.
Or Mr.
First report of the first
Committee
conference
reports.
committee on House Bill 1410. This report amends the re-engrossed bill. To the President of the Senate and Speaker of the House of Representatives, the first conference committee appointed on House Bill 1410 concerning the provision for payment of the expenses of the executive, legislative, and judicial departments of the state of Colorado and of its agencies and institutions for and during the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026, except as otherwise noted, has met and reports that it has agreed upon the following. One, that the Senate has recede from its amendments made to the bill as the amendments appear in the re-revised bill, and that the following amendments be substituted therefore. Respectfully submitted.
Just 1 second, please.
Respectfully submitted, Emily Sirota, Chair, Kyle Brown, Rick Taggart, Senate Committee, Jeff Bridges, Chair, Judy Amabile, Senator Barbara Kirkmeyer.
Introduction of bills.
Senate Bill 182 by Senator Snyder and Simpson, Representative Caldwell and Pascal concerning an updated clean energy plan from a municipally owned utility.
Transportation and energy. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you. Colleagues, we have a very special moment right now. As many of you know, we don't get to do this that often, but we need to proceed out of order because the president has some people he'd like to, you got a tribute, Mr. President? We'd like to proceed out of order for a moment of personal privilege.
Thank you. You have heard the motion to proceed out of order for a moment, a rare moment of personal privilege. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye!
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and we will proceed out of order for a rare moment of personal privilege. Mr. President, Senator Coleman.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I request a moment of rare personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Members, on behalf of the Colorado State Senate, we proudly recognize African Leadership Group. Please stand for its extraordinary leadership and impact. ALG stands as a powerful force of connection, uplifting African communities, African immigrant communities as well, while building meaningful bridges across cultures, neighborhoods, and institutions. Through advocacy, leadership development, community engagement, ALG does more than serve. It strengthens the very fabric of Colorado. Today, we celebrate loudly and proudly the vibrant cultural richness and dynamic economic contributions that African immigrants bring to this state. From entrepreneurship to civic leadership, from education to innovation, these contributions shape a stronger, more inclusive Colorado for all. May this recognition affirm what is already clear, that belonging is built through partnership and that Colorado's future is brighter because of the leadership and vision embodied by the African Leadership Group. Members, please join us in welcoming African Leadership Group to the chamber.
Mr. Majority Leader. Senatorial 5.
Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate proceed out of order for consideration of conference committee reports.
The motion is to proceed out of order for consideration of conference committee reports. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Wow. There's one no. But the ayes have it, and that motion is adopted. We will proceed out of order. Consideration of conference committee reports. Senator Kirkmeyer.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate adopt the first report of the First Conference Committee on House Bill 1411.
Mr. Schaffler, please read the title of House Bill 1411.
House Bill 1411 by Senators Brown, Representatives Brown and Sirota, and Senators Amabile and Kirkmeyer concerning changes to health insurance benefits for certain low-income individuals who are not eligible for medical assistance due to their immigration status and in connection therewith making and reducing an appropriation.
Okay, now, Senator Kirkmeyer, motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the Senate, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. Sorry about that.
It's all good. No fine needed.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to see you.
Your uncle likes me.
My uncle likes you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, thank you, Mr. President. I'll do this again. I move the Senate adopt the first report of the First Conference Committee on House Bill 1411. Ask for an aye vote.
Any discussion? Senator Kirkmeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With the Conference Committee, the House acceded to the Senate amendments, and we did strike 750 and replaced it with 1,100.
Very good. Senator Kirkmeyer will now be fined $2 for referring to the president as Senator, Mr. Chair, twice.
God,
It's okay.
Did I do it again?
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
$2.
Yeah, just
$2.
Jeff pay.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion is the adoption of the first report of the First Conference Committee on House Bill 1411. Are there any no votes?
I wasn't paying attention. I bet you did, though. He noticed.
With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 1 excused, the first report of the First Conference Committee on House Bill 1411 is adopted. Senator Amabile.
Your Excellency.
I think it's time for this. Mr. President, Your Excellency,
Wow. Here we go.
I move for the repassage of House Bill 1411.
Senator Amabile will be credited $1 to whatever fine she. Seeing no further discussion, the motion for the repassage of House Bill 1411. Are there any no votes? What? Senator Zamora Wilson. Baisley, repassage of 1411. With a vote of 32 ayes, 2 noes, 0 absent, and 1 excused, House Bill 1411 is repassed. Co-sponsors. Senatorial 5. I just do what I do. What
Colleagues,
my
we'll
secretary
be
tells me.
pausing for a minute because we have to bring up Senate Bill 14, or House Bill 1410, and it needs to be passed out before we make a motion.
I have made mistakes. And now we will take a Senatorial 5. Oh yeah, we back in the game. Mr. Majority Leader. That's all right, man. Finish chewing. You good? You gotta eat sometime.
Senator Gonzalez will yell at me if I have. Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we suspend Senate Rule 26B to allow consideration of conference committee reports on the same day the report is read.
You've heard the motion. This requires a 2/3 vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. What? The ayes have it. Senate Rule 26B will be suspended to consider conference committee reports on the same day the report is read. Will the clerk, Mr. Schaffler, please read the title of House Bill 1410?
House Bill 1410 by Representative Sirota and Senator Bridges, concerning the provision for payment of the expenses of the executive, legislative, and judicial departments of the state of Colorado and of its agencies and institutions for and during the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026, except as otherwise noted.
Senator Bridges.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the first report of the First Conference Committee on House Bill 26-1410.
Any discussion? Seeing none, the motion is for the adoption of the first report of the First Conference Committee on House Bill 1410. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 1 excused, the first report of the First Conference Committee on House Bill 1410 is adopted. Senator Bridges.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the repassage of House Bill 1410.
Further discussion? There is discussion. Senator Frizzell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I just wanted to take 1 minute to talk about the amendment that we voted to add to House Bill 26-1410 regarding the IDD community. We had actually 2 amendments. One was to House Bill 1405, which was appropriating an additional $7.1 million from the Governor's Office of Information Technologies Revolving Cash Fund. And that was passed. And in fact, we heard the conference committee report on that particular bill at the end of last week. And you might recall that not only did the conference committee appropriate that $7.1 million, they added to that, so I think it was a total of $10 million additional, totaling $20 million from the Office of Information Technologies Revolving Cash Fund. Did I get that number right? Thank you. That said, and I want to say a couple of things about the work of our Joint Budget Committee on this particular issue. First, I want to extend my gratitude for the work. This is, I suspect, been a very emotional and challenging topic for you all to discuss and have to decide upon, because this very, very vulnerable community is they're very vocal and they are very active. They are not always able to advocate well for themselves, though, because they're not organized. They don't have a major lobbyist sitting out there reaching to us and trying to advocate for them. These are folks who candidly are having to spend a lot of time at home with their loved one who has IDD. And so as such, I don't think that their voices are always as heard as some other voices that we hear in this chamber. That said, I know that the original amendment that we passed to the long bill has been changed in here, and I have absolutely no idea what page it's on. So I'm not going to call it out. I know that the total amount and what we originally amended has changed, and I'm glad that you are leaving some money for the transition, the youth transition DD waivers. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate your work to maintain that funding when I know that there are many, many other priorities. So I just wanted to say those words, and thank you very much.
Further discussion? Senator Amabile.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say the entire conversation that we had around the IDD community was incredibly difficult. And no one did any of the things that we did lightly. But I will also say that I felt extremely frustrated that we didn't really have information that I believed in. But we had to act with the information that we had. And so I want you all to know that we are going to work on this over the interim, and we are going to really dig in to what we are seeing. And we are going to make sure that when we come back next year, we have better information and we can make better decisions. And we are going to revisit things if we find out that we were wrong about the impact that those things will have going forward. And that's my promise to this body, is that we are going to work as hard as we can over the interim to make sure we get it right.
Further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, the motion is the repassage of House Bill 1410. Are there any no votes? What? Mr. Minority Leader, Senators Frizzell, Zamora Wilson, Baisley, Rich, Liston, Catlin, Pelton R, Carson, Bright, Pelton B. With a vote of 23 ayes, 11 noes, 0 absent, and 1 excused, House Bill 1410 is repassed. Co-sponsors. Excused. Special order second the bill's consent calendar, Mr. Majority Leader. We'll find him.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate take up special order second reading of bills consent calendar, which consists of Senate Bill 154, Senate Bill 156, and Senate Bill 157 at the hour of 10:06 a.m.
The motion to Senate take up those bills on special orders at the hour of 10:06 a.m. This requires a 2/3 vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. That motion is adopted. Senate will take up those bills on special orders considered the hour of 10:06 a.m. Special orders, second reading of the bills. Consent calendar, Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of special orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The motion's adopted. The Senate will resolve itself Committee of the Whole for consideration of special orders. Second reading of bills, consent calendar, Senator Roberts will take the chair.
The committee will come to order, and the court rule is relaxed. Will the clerk please read the title of all the bills on the special order, second reading of bills, consent calendar?
Senate Bill 154 by Senator Simpson and Mullica and Representatives McCluskey and Caldwell concerning a modification to appointments to the Colorado Channel Authority Board. Senate Bill 156 by Senators Kipp and Carson and Representatives Phillips and Gonzalez concerning changes to the State Workforce Development Council's practices. Senate Bill 157 by Senator Pelton R. and Hendrickson concerning the abandonment of a town that has critical water infrastructure for the residents of the town.
Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move for the passage of all the bills on special order, second reading of bills consent calendar, which is Senate Bill 154 and the Appropriations Report, Senate Bill 156, the Business, Labor, Technology, and the Appropriations Report, Senate Bill 157, the Local Government and Housing and the Appropriations Report.
Is there any discussion on any of the bills, on any of the committee reports? The motion before us is the adoption of all the committee reports on the special order, second reading of bills, consent calendar. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee reports are adopted. Is there any discussion on any of the bills on the consent calendar? Seeing none, the motion before us is the adoption of all the bills on the special order, second reading of bills, consent calendar. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and those bills are adopted. Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion is for the committee to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee will rise and report.
The Senate will come to order. Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has had a number of bills under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
April 28, 2026. Mr. President, in committee, the whole begs leave to report has had under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof, makes following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 154 as amended, Senate Bill 156 as amended, Senate Bill 157 as amended, passed on second reading, and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the report.
The motion is the adoption of the committee report, whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 1 excused, committee of the whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 154 is amended, 156 is amended, 157 is amended, passed second reading, order gross place counter for third reading and final passage. Second reading of the bills, special orders, Majority Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate take up special orders second reading of bills, which consist of Senate Bill 17, 45, 91, and 114 at the hour of 10:10 a.m.
A motion is the Senate take up those bills on special orders at the hour of 10:10 a.m. This requires 2/3 vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and that motion is adopted. Senate will take up those bills on special orders at the hour of 10:10 a.m. Special orders, second reading of the bill. Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself into the committee of the whole for the consideration of special orders, second reading of bills.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. That motion is adopted. The Senate will resolve itself in committee of the whole for consideration of special orders, second reading of bills. And Senator Roberts will take the chair.
I gotta move, I'll move health, approps, and then you can move the bill.
The committee will come to order and the courtroom is relaxed for everyone in the chamber. Will the clerk please read the title of Senate Bill 17?
Senate Bill 17 by Senators Doherty and Bright concerning changes to out-of-network healthcare services dispute resolution processes for health insurance carriers.
Senator Doherty.
I move the health committee report.
Can we do the bill and both the committee reports?
What did you, sorry? I move Senate Bill 17 and the health committee report and the appropriations committee report.
All right, to the Health and Human Services Committee report.
Thank you. In health committee, we worked with stakeholders on some technical amendments in order to allow for batching of similar claims for out-of-network claims.
Is there any further discussion on the Health and Human Services Committee report? Seeing none, the motion before us is the adoption of the committee report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee report from Health and Human Services is adopted. To the appropriations report. Senator Doherty.
I move the appropriations report.
Any discussion?
We worked with the division to provide information to them in order to lower the fiscal note, and I urge an aye vote.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before us is the adoption of the committee report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the appropriations committee report is adopted. To the bill. Senator Bright.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 17.
All right. Any discussion of Senate Bill
would
17?
Love to also add that the bill adds mechanisms for the Department of Regulatory Agencies to enforce out-of-network claim payment requirements.
Do I eat this or what?
Say it again.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would love to speak to the bill, Senate Bill 17. This bill adds mechanisms for the Department of Regulatory Agencies to enforce out-of-network claim payment requirements. And urge an aye vote.
Any further discussion?
It was close.
Seeing none, the motion before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 17. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and Senate Bill 17 is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title of Senate Bill 45?
Senate Bill 45 by Senator Liston and Mullica and Representative Pascal and Winter T concerning promoting workforce development opportunities in Colorado's nuclear sector.
Senator Liston.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I move Senate Bill 45 on second reading and the Education Committee report and the Appropriations Committee report.
Okay, to the Education Committee report.
Very good. Members, what the Education Committee report does is the Colorado Commission on Higher Education gets to appoint one member, and also the report will go to the Colorado Commission on Higher Education. I urge an aye vote on the Education Committee report.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before us is the adoption of the Education Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee report is adopted. To the appropriations report, Senator Mullica.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In the Appropriations Committee, we put an amendment on that essentially puts a one-year sunset on the bill if they are unable to raise the funds to fund this program at the School of Mines. I ask for a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before us is the adoption of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the Appropriations report is adopted. To the bill, Senator Liston.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, what this bill does is that as Colorado moves into the 21st century, it's going to be important for all forms of energy. And nuclear energy is gaining favor all the time. And if we're going to have nuclear energy, it's very important that we have people that will that are trained to build the nuclear plants, to maintain them, and to run them. Just to give you some idea of the jobs that this will create, a nuclear engineer is making in the vicinity of $127,000 a year. A nuclear technician that would work at a nuclear facility would make $104,000. A pipe fitter that will help build the facilities make $63,000. So this would create very good, high-paying jobs and careers. I urge an aye vote on Senate Bill 45 at second reading.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 45. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and Senate Bill 45 is adopted. The clerk, please read the title of Senate Bill 91.
Senate Bill 91 by Senator Snyder and Cutter and Representative Soper concerning adding the exclusion of certain printed news deliverers from the definition of employee in Colorado Employment Security Act to other state labor laws.
Senator Snyder.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 91 and the Business, Labor, and Technology Committee report.
To the committee report. Senator Snyder.
Thank you. So, folks, in committee, we did a strike below amendment that really was responsive to a lot of the concerns we heard from labor and a few others about this bill. So what we did is we looked at the rulings of the administrative law judge, some of the rulings that came out of here in Denver dealing with the Denver Post, and looked at the criteria that they used in deciding whether or not somebody is an independent contractor, specifically newspaper delivery people, which are currently operate mostly throughout the state. Almost every paper operates and employs them as independent contractors. The Denver Post is a different animal, and there's been some adverse rulings there with some employees, some delivery people not getting their proper pay. But the Denver Post uses a model where they hire a third party to run their entire delivery service. So we're talking about the smaller papers, even larger ones like the Colorado Springs Gazette down where I live. It's a tried and true model. If you talk to the newspaper delivery people, they don't want to be classified as an FTE. They like doing this work as an independent contractor. So we did the strike below amendment, L002, which basically takes all of those criteria that the courts have used in making those determinations and put them into the bill so that that would be in statute. And with that, I would ask for a yes vote on the BLT committee report.
Further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the motion before us is the adoption of the Business, Labor, and Technology Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee report is adopted. To the bill. Any further discussion? Senator Cutter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I very much support workers and workers' rights, but this is a very, very, very narrow way to address newspapers who have been struggling mightily. I have a deep concern about local news and newspapers being able to continue to thrive. I think that's a key tenet of democracy. It's something that's really important to all of us, especially in some of these smaller communities that we're really talking about. independent news, a thriving independent news is super important. And this just, if these papers had to classify individuals differently than as independent contractors, it would be incredibly costly for them, and they'd have to pass that on to customers, and the business model is already in jeopardy. So that's why I'm supporting this bill, because I support local news and want to see it continue and do any small thing I can to help facilitate that. So I hope you'll join us in supporting Senate Bill 91.
Further discussion, Senator Gonzalez.
Are these your glasses? Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to the sponsors of this legislation. This is, I think, a demonstration of where corporate power yet again seeks to change the rules in order to benefit themselves. When we see an operation like the Denver Post that is the behemoth within the newspaper industry right now, seeking to advance policy that will benefit themselves, as opposed to just doing the work to pay their workers and compensate their workers fairly, it then begs the question in a broader point. If we start to shift the statutes and the regulations around who gets qualified and determined as an independent contractor in this narrow context, what's then to stop the next context, the next industry, from saying, well, they did that for them, why not for me too? I understand wholeheartedly that the billionaires who own the Denver Post don't want to pay their workers fairly. I get that. Why would we then change the law to allow that to continue? Let's pay workers what they are owed. The AFL-CIO is opposed to this bill. I ask for a no vote on this policy.
Any further discussion? Senator Snyder.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to my good colleague from Denver, of course. But I have to correct a few of the statements that she made. We have not contacted or been in contact with the Denver Post at all. They have never been a part of this bill. As I said at the beginning, they are a separate model, and they got into some trouble, ended up having to be liable for back pay and wages because their third-party vendor that they hired to run their delivery service did not pay their people correctly. And so I believe there were 5 cases dealing with that, but that has nothing to do with our bill. Our bill is dealing about the truly independent contractors for the small papers from Grand Junction to Durango. As I mentioned earlier, Colorado Springs Gazette uses the same model. So, and as far as the unions go, we talked to the Teamsters who have a contract with the Denver Post, and they were fine with this. We talked to labor. It wasn't until really the very last minute that suddenly they had issues about this model that we're using. But we did take language that they had suggested. We just couldn't get them to a position of support. And I think we have to recognize that we all know the existential threat independent news is facing in today's world. So we see what's happening with the large papers. Either they get a hedge fund or private equity or some billionaire like Bezos to buy it. It's happened in LA, it's happened in Washington Post, the LA Times. If you don't have a white knight, you're really facing an existential threat. What we're doing with this bill is saying that this is a system that works for them. We just want to put it into statute so they have some certainty and know that they can continue operating with the way they historically always have. I'm sure many people here had a newspaper route when they were younger. I know I did for a little while, but
That's what we're talking about. And the people we talk to who are independent deliveries, who testified in committee, they're happy with the current situation. They're not looking to be made FTEs. Because if these struggling papers, who are kind of on their hind legs already, had to pay these and classify these people as FTEs, they could not afford that, and they would be no longer delivering their papers. So I thank the good senator from Denver for her comments. I just want to set the record straight, and with that, we ask for an aye vote.
Senator Cutter.
I just want to echo the comments of my co-prime, and also thank you for the concern. We really did work hard on this to make sure that labor globally wasn't impacted. And I understand that it's a tough needle to thread, but the fact that there's no way we would be doing this to support a venture capital firm who bought out the Denver Post. That is not the goal of this bill, and I just want to be sure everyone understands this is directed towards small, independent, local papers. A newspaper delivery person who throws papers for like 2 hours in the morning shouldn't be considered a full-time employee and all the benefits that entails. So hope that you will support this.
Senator Snyder.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And one final point, folks. The only profession that is actually mentioned in the U.S. Constitution is the free press and journalism. So I do think this idea that there's a slippery slope, that next year the pizza delivery people will be coming and looking for a similar classification. I think that a big separation between them and what we're talking about here is, I think we all value an independent free press. We're trying our best to help these smaller entities. I wish we could be like New Mexico. They've got a wonderful tax credit program that's really supporting journalists and small newspapers. Obviously, we're not in a position to do that, but I think it's incumbent upon us to recognize and to protect a free and fair press. And with that, we do ask for an aye vote.
Okay, Senator Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I would initially respond that also in the Constitution they mention the Postal Service. So those are employees as well. That was a part of the foundation of the United States, is that we had a working post office to connect everybody. On this, I mean, I am one of those who can recall 60 plus years ago being a paper boy. We would get our newspapers delivered to our house and go out and deliver them. You used to actually get the newspaper inside of the screen door so that the rain wouldn't get on it, or in upstate New York, the snow wouldn't get on it, so it would be protected. And in that time, it was the foundation of everything that my brother and my sister actually took over our routes after we got older, was the foundation of everything that we were able to do. We learned how to run a business, to save money, to spend our money. I mean, we were loaded at that time with the money that we made there. That was then a pack of baseball cards were only a nickel, and you got gum inside of it. And so we could buy actually an entire box for $1.20, and got ourselves into business with trading our cards with our friends, trading off all of our Yankees cards for their Mets cards. Used to do that, and a comic book was only 12 cents. And so we were able to do that. But that was the foundation of business, started as paper boys. And I mean, certainly we can't go back to that, but it would be nice if we could. But these employees should get paid properly, and I'm glad to hear from the senator from Denver reminding us of that fact, that those people should get paid, and those billionaires who own our airwaves and our printed matter, they should be able to find a way to squeeze out a couple of bucks to make sure that these people who are up at 4 o'clock in the morning folding papers in their cars as they drive in our neighborhoods, that they properly get paid.
Senator Liston.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, I sit on the Business, Labor, and Technology Committee and heard this bill several weeks ago, and I think it's a good bill. I have to think about, personally, you know, I'm one of these odd rarities that actually read the hard copy of the newspaper every day. It's very nice that our local newspaper, the Gazette and the Denver Post, have it here for all of us to read, and I do my best to read. You know, it's something nice about having the paper in your hands that you can thumb through versus trying to read the fine print on your phone, if you can read it at all. But the reason I speak from some experience that in Colorado Springs, where my wife and I have been subscribers to the Gazette for probably at least 30 years. I can't remember so long. But we enjoy getting the paper, and our delivery person, I believe her name is, I want to say Carolyn Espinoza. She has been the delivery person for the last, at least the last 10 years. She delivers it faithfully every morning by at least 7 o'clock. And if there's ever a problem, which is rare, but if there is, we have her phone number, and we can call her up and say, hey, the paper got wet, because sometimes even though it's in the plastic bag, there's rain or snow or whatever, and she will come and redeliver the paper, or if it's lost. So we treat her very well. She is an independent contractor. And she loves the job. I think she has another part-time job, but she's obviously an early morning riser, and she likes delivery. She's had the same customers for year after year, and we do that thing called a tip. We always tip her, send her a nice Christmas card, and send her a check or cash, whatever we do. But we appreciate the independent contractors, whether it's her or the others, because that's what they want to do. They enjoy the job. They enjoy the flexibility. She's probably done by 8 or 8:30 in the morning and can go to her other job or what she wants to do. So I think this is a great, wonderful bill, and I urge an aye vote on Senate Bill 91. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to my colleagues for this helpful discussion. Let me just correct the record for myself, and I appreciate the additional information from the good senator from El Paso County about this. Let me just correct the records to say, not the behemoth that is the Denver Post, but let's talk about the behemoth owners of the Denver Post, who are trying to starve out not only that newspaper, but many of the newspapers that they own across the country. The third-party contractor, who doesn't have anything to do with any of this, who is also misclassifying the workers, I'm sure that they are just trying to make ends meet. But this is how it happens, friends. This is how it happens. When we are told that journalism is starving, and so let us pay the folks who actually ensure that the news gets delivered, let's ensure that they get paid the least. I'm sorry, I just have to say, I cannot support this bill. I encourage a no vote. I respect where my colleagues are coming from in this issue and trying to ensure that we are supporting local journalism, that we are supporting reporting, that we are supporting workers, that we are supporting the people who actually do the work to conduct independent journalism and to stand up for truth and to fight against the AI bots that are coming for us all. But let's be clear. The folks who we should be holding to account are the behemoth corporate owners, not the workers themselves.
Senator Bright.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I rise in support of this bill, and I think the context of the discussion here is independent contractors versus employees. And owning a business and having both, there's definitely a time and a place for employees, and there's a time and a place for an independent contractor. This is very parallel to a bill that I ran earlier that addressed independent contractors and employees. And the department I was working with actually made the choice to bring independent contractors in-house as employees. And I was initially shocked, but then quite pleased that it saved the government money to bring those folks in from independent contractors to employees. And so I think the insinuation that we're mistreating people because we contract with them rather than employ them is a little bit inaccurate. And so I would encourage that we keep this space open for the interpretation of how business wants to treat the folks that help it work forward. Not always does it have to be an employee, not always does it have to be an independent contractor, and I feel like we would love to, it would be best to leave those decisions up in the halls of the folks that run those businesses. So I rise in support of this bill.
Senator Carson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I too would like to support this bill. I think the senator from Jefferson County and from Manitou Springs, they're just working hard to save some people's jobs here. I think the reality is, you know, a lot of people like to be independent contractors. It's actually the senator from Jefferson County be interested to know that I delivered the Lakewood Sentinel years ago in her district. So I, like the senator from Centennial, was also a newspaper delivery boy many years ago in Lakewood. But I think this is a good bill. It's about keeping jobs in place. I don't see the need to change the system, so I support it. Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 91. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and Senate Bill 91 is adopted. The clerk please read the title of Senate Bill 114.
Senate Bill 114 by Senator Marchman and Bright and Representative Titone and Soper concerning a spirituous liquor manufacturer's sales rooms.
Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 114 and the Business Labor Technology Report and the Appropriations Committee Report.
Okay, to the Business Labor Technology Committee report.
Great. In the BLT committee, after working closely with the Colorado Restaurant Association and the other craft alcohol producers, as well as local governments, we ensured that the bill's expanded optional permit privileges for pouring a limited amount of other products, which would be beer and wine, have appropriate and commensurate local government approval before being considered by the state licensing agency. So we'd ask for an aye vote on the BLT report.
Further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before us is the adoption of the committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the Business, Labor, and Technology Committee report is adopted. To the Appropriations Committee report, Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In appropriations, we had to strike the biggest provision of this bill, which would have been to expand tasting room access for people, for craft distillers. We did that to remove the fiscal, so what is left in the bill is a permit to pour other beverages. We'd ask for an aye vote.
Further discussion on the Appropriations Committee report? Seeing none, the motion before us is the adoption of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee report is adopted. To the bill, Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So my good colleague and I are really pleased to present Senate Bill 114 to support our Colorado craft distillers and small businesses. This bill is really similar to a bill that our Senate supported the passage of last session, but this one has enhanced local control approval requirements to satisfy former concerns from restaurants, taverns, and local governments. So this bill is for the benefit of our craft manufacturers' tasting rooms on a license called a sales room. This is not for a distillery pub license, which has been a little confusing. There are a lot of different liquor licenses. So there are different tiers of the three-tier system, and cross-ownership is prohibited for manufacturers. So we are here with this bill for the manufacturers. Colorado is home to some of the best craft manufacturers, not only in the country, but in the world. Today, there was a Denver Post article that says, last week, winners of the international competition's 9th edition were announced, and the Loveland-based Root Shoot Spirits American Single Malt Whiskey took top honors. Judges awarded the whiskey, which is made with 100% Colorado-grown grain, a double gold medal with 97 out of 100 points, beating out all other global entries. Todd Ullander is the owner, and he pointed out, you can't recognize Root Shoot whiskey without acknowledging also the power of Colorado agriculture, from the high altitude to the soil to the people who work the land. This is a special place that produces special malts and whiskeys. Stranahan's also won several accolades, including gold medals for 3 of their whiskey products. But even our top distillers are struggling right now. When we ran this bill last year, there were 23 additional craft distillers that are no longer here. The bill died last year. It does the exact same thing as what this one does. And it died, and we lost 23. So I'm a math teacher. We only have about 80 left. That's only 3 more years of craft distillery unless we make these types of changes. So this bill is not a magic bullet for everything, but it will improve work and small business for our craft distillers. So I'd encourage an aye vote on Senate Bill 114.
Senator Bright.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With so many of our craft distillers struggling to stay in business, we need this bill's new optional permit privilege to pour a limited amount of other alcohol to broaden the base of customers visiting those tasting rooms where they can have an opportunity to sample or purchase bottles of those manufacturer spirits. With amendments adopted for new local approval of these optional permits on tasting room, sales room licenses, we are respecting parity of all the local controls that restaurants and taverns must undergo to pour at their establishments. Those distillers that want to pursue this optional permit privilege will need local approval before the state will consider granting the permit. All products that will be poured under the permit respect our valuable 3-tier system and wholesaler controls. We've gone from a high of 120 craft distillers just a handful of years ago to 82 now, with many others in danger of going under. They desperately need their sales rooms, and also known as tasting rooms, to be thriving. They need to attract a larger base of customers visiting establishments. That's what this bill helps to provide. It's a lifeline to these folks. This bill isn't a magic bullet for everything. It's a start, and with the fiscal constraints we face as a state, it absolutely provides some much-needed help for our struggling craft distillers while ensuring local controls and parity for the requirements that restaurants and taverns also undergo. We're anxious to pass this important legislation to keep our amazing craft distillers in business, and please join me today. Let's vote yes on 114.
There is an amendment at the desk.
I did forget.
Will the clerk please read L7?
Amendment L7.
Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move L007.
To the amendment.
What this is almost forgotten, but I remembered to run it. This is a technical amendment that was requested by CML. What this does, it just makes sure that the local licensing that they asked for and that we included in this bill is just following their standard licensing procedures. So would ask for an aye vote on L007.
Further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before us is the adoption of Amendment L007. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the amendment is adopted. Further discussion on the bill. Senator Pelton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I rise in support of this bill, and here's why. Last year I supported the bill, but I was a little frustrated with the whole local control aspect of it. Wanted to make sure that the local control portion of this bill, you guys have done an excellent job in working on that aspect of it to make sure that they have to go through the same process when you go through the licensing and that sort of thing. We have a distillery in Sterling. And what people don't understand is, like with distilleries, it takes time. So your first year when you're distilling, when you're making the libations, it takes time to create that aspect of it, and then it takes months and months and months to make sure that everything's fermented properly and all that stuff. But the biggest part of this bill that I was concerned about was making sure that they go through the same aspects of the local control. As a sitting county commissioner, they would bring liquor licenses in front of us, we asked a lot of questions to make sure that there were no problems with what was going on with the liquor license. So I applaud the fact that you guys brought that into this bill. Thank you very much. And a quote from Benjamin Franklin, he talks about beer, but beer is proof that God loves us, and that's the way we should look at this as well. So I appreciate it, and thank you very much for bringing the bill. Ask for an aye.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 114. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and Senate Bill 114 is adopted. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion is for the committee to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee will rise and report.
The Senate will come to order. Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has met and had a number of bills under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
April 28, 2026. Mr. President, your committee of the whole begs leave to report has had in consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof, makes following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 17 as amended, Senate Bill 45 as amended, Senate Bill 91 as amended, Senate Bill 114 as amended, passed in second reading in order engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the report.
The motion is the adoption committee of the whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 1 excused, committee of the whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 17 is amended, 45 is amended, 91 is amended, 114 is amended. Passed on second reading, order of engrossed, placed in counter for third reading and final passage. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that. Thank you, Mr. President.
He corrected it.
Your sincerest excellency, Miss.
That's right.
Big Daddy President.
I like that too.
I'm requesting to take House Bill 1318 off the consent calendar and placing it at the bottom of third reading bill's final passage.
House Bill 1318 will be removed from the consent calendar and placed at the bottom of the third reading of the bill's final passage calendar. Third reading of the bills, final passage. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title of Senate Bill 131.
Senate Bill 131 by Senators Ball and Pelton B. and Representatives Woodrow and Wood concerning protections against abusive practices in sports betting.
Senator Pelton B.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Bill 26-131 on third reading and final passage.
Further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, the motion is the passage of Senate Bill 131. Are there any no votes? Senators, Mr. Minority Leader, Frizzell, Zamora Wilson, Kirkmeyer, Marchman, Sullivan, Bright, Carson, Roberts, Pelton R., Catlin, Liston, Baisley, with a vote of 21 ayes, 13 no, 0 absent, 1 excused, Senate Bill 131 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Judah, Amabile, please add the President. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title of Senate Bill 166.
Senate Bill 166 by Senators Benavidez and Kipp and Representatives Goldstein concerning school board member disqualifying convictions.
Senator Benavidez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Bill 26-166 on third reading and final passage and ask for an aye vote.
Further discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the passage of Senate Bill 166. Are there any no votes? Senators Zamora Wilson, Rich, Pelton B., Bright, Catlin, Carson, Pelton R., Liston, Baisley, with a, please add Senator Henriksen as a no on 166, and Mr. Minority Leader, and Senator Frizzell. With a vote of 22 ayes, 12 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, Senate Bill 166 is passed. Co-sponsors. And we have a picture. There we go. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title of Senate Bill 142.
Senate Bill 142 by Senators Ball and Kipp and Representative Joseph Gonzalez concerning the development of thermal energy resources.
Senator Ball.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Bill 142 on third reading and final passage and ask for an aye vote.
Further discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the passage of Senate Bill 142. Are there any no votes? Senators Zamora Wilson, Baisley, Liston, Pelton R., Carson, Bright, Rich. With a vote of 27 ayes, 7 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, Senate Bill 142 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Lindstedt, Amabile, Cutter, Doherty, Roberts, Mullica, Benavidez, Snyder, Exum. Please add the president. And Senator Judah as a co-sponsor on 142. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Having voted on the prevailing side, I move for the reconsideration of Senate Bill 131.
The motion is for the reconsideration of Senate Bill 131. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The motion is adopted and reconsideration is granted. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title of Senate Bill 131.
Senate Bill 131 by Senators Ball and Pelton B. and Representatives Woodrow and Wood concerning protections against abusive practices in sports betting.
Senator Ball.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Bill 131 on third reading and final passage and ask for an aye vote.
The motion is the passage of Senate Bill 131. Are there any no votes? Senators Marchman, Mr. Minority Leader, Frizzell, Zamora Wilson, Henriksen, Sullivan, Bright, Carson, Roberts, Catlin, Pelton R., Kirkmeyer. There you are. Liston, Baisley. With a vote of 20 ayes, 14 noes, 0 absent, and 1 excused, Senate Bill 131 is passed. Co-sponsors.
You don't have to do it again.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to lay over Senate Bill 134 until Wednesday, April the 29th.
The motion is to lay over Senate Bill 134 to Wednesday, April 29th. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and Senate Bill 134 will lay over to Wednesday, April 29th. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title to House Bill 1019.
House Bill 1019 by Representatives Leader and Bacon and Senators Roberts and Rich concerning mandatory health care coverage for preventative kidney function screening services.
Senator Rich.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move House Bill 261019 for final passage.
Very good. The motion is to passage of House Bill 1019. Are there any no votes? Senators Zamora Wilson, Baisley, with a vote of 32 ayes, 2 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, House Bill 1019 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Marchman, Kirkmeyer, Wallace, Mr. Minority Leader, Henriksen, Senator Gonzalez, Benavidez, Judah, Cutter, Amabile, Snyder, Ball, Exum, Bright, Catlin, Liston, Colker. Please add the president. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title of House Bill 1318. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to lay over House Bill 1318 until Wednesday, April the 29th.
The motion is lay over House Bill 1318 to Wednesday, April 29th. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and House Bill 1318 will lay over till Wednesday, April 29th. General orders. Second reading of the bill. Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of general orders, second reading of bills.
You heard the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. The Senate resolves itself Committee of the Whole for general orders, second reading of the bills, and Senator Roberts will take the chair.
The committee will come to order and the court rule is relaxed for everyone in the chamber. Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the Senate proceed out of order, take up Senate Bill 162.
The motion is to proceed out of order to take up Senate Bill 162. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. We will proceed out of order. Will the clerk please read the title of Senate Bill 162?
Senate Bill 162 by Senators Frizzell and Mullica and Representatives Hartsock and Hamrick concerning releasing healthcare test results to patients.
Senator Frizzell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, Senate Bill 26, oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 26-162 and the committee report.
All right, to the Health and Human Services Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In the Health and Human Services Committee, we provided a couple of amendments, and they were passed. And that's kind of what happened.
All right, any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before us is the adoption of the Health and Human Services Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee report is adopted. To the bill, Senator Frizzell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, Senate Bill 26-162 really talks about the sensitivity of cancer screening results and the importance of being able to consult with your physician to understand them. I brought this legislation forward in response to my own experience of receiving a test result through a patient portal without being able to talk to my oncologist. So what happened was last summer, and I think everybody here recalls my struggles, and I'm eternally grateful for the support that you've given me over the last year plus. But I had to have some additional tests. Some of them are just, preventative, making sure that cancer hadn't spread to other places in my body because it had spread actually to my lymph nodes at the time that I had my original surgery. And so I had a bone scan and a CAT scan and kind of the usual things. And my bone scan results, I went to my patient portal and I looked, and I don't know if you've ever looked at a bone scan report, but the medical terminology is extraordinary. I'm not a doctor, and I didn't understand it, but I understood one thing that was on my report, and it said metastasis in L3 vertebrae. That's a lot. So I went on Dr. Google because it's 7 o'clock at night at this point. And it was pretty scary. Actually, it was terrifying. Please sit down. Please sit down. So I talked to my doctor finally the next day, and we figured out a plan. More tests, because that spot, there was a spot, they didn't know what it was. And here's the thing, is that once you are diagnosed with cancer, everything is cancer. Every shadow, every spot, everything. Because that's what, in the end, it was fine. It was nothing. It was 2 weeks of total chaos in my life and trying to figure out if I should start death cleaning my house or something. It's supposed to be kind of funny. But it's really hard to go through this. And I talked to other people about my experience. And as it turns out, this happens a lot. It happens a real lot. I talked to my oncologist, and she's like, yeah, but we're required by law to immediately post test results. And I said, what law? As it turns out, patient portals were mandated by the 21st Century Cures Act, which was passed in 2016. And that requires healthcare providers to give immediate and free electronic access to your health information. And that's important. You know what? Patient portals are great. They're a fantastic source of information, and they do so much good. They are so incredibly important in that conversation between a doctor or other healthcare provider and a patient. But they don't replace the conversation, that hardest conversation, where a doctor tells their patient that they have cancer. It happens all too frequently. So as it turns out, the way that this 21st Century Cures Act is written is super, super narrow. But there are some very small ways that states can accept themselves. And one of them is cancer test results, including genetic marker testing. So that's what this bill does. This bill says you can wait 72 hours. You can hold test results for these particular diagnoses. Cancer test results and genetic marker testing are held up to 72 hours, and that gives the doctor time to have that really personal conversation and interpret that medical terminology for them. Colorado is not unique. We would join Kentucky, Texas, and California in providing this particular measure to protect patients' well-being. This does maintain the founding principles around the 21st Century Cures Act, which is patient-centeredness. And it really respects that patient and doctor relationship. This bill is supported by the Colorado Medical Society and the Colorado Oncology Society. And I would ask for your aye vote, please.
Senator Malika.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, members, but most specifically, thank you, Senator Frizzell. I think this bill is a prime example of showing what we do matters, that we bring our lived experiences into this chamber to pass legislation to make life better for the people of Colorado. And Senator Frizzell had an experience and found out that other people have that same experience. And 162 is a response to that, to make sure that when somebody is going through a stressful time, like being diagnosed with cancer, that they're not left in their living room alone, reading test results that they may not understand, that is going to add additional stress to them. And it allows for that opportunity for that patient to have conversations with their provider. And that matters. And that matters. And we're talking about specifically just oncology results, which can be very difficult to understand. They're complicated. We're not talking about, if your flu test is positive or negative. We're talking about life and death diagnoses. And patients deserve to have that conversation with their provider and not just learn about that sitting in their living room alone, having Google to go try to search what's going wrong with them. I think it speaks volumes to who we have in support of this bill when it comes to CMS, when it comes to the Oncology Society, that our providers agree and that the patients agree as well. This is a good bill. It's a bill that's going to make sure that we address what is a real issue, and I think it's unfortunate that Senator Frizzell had to go through it, but I think it's pretty amazing to see her take that lived experience and turn it into something that is a really good bill that's going to make life a little better for the people of Colorado. I would ask for a yes vote.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion is the adoption of Senate Bill 162. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. 162 is adopted. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the Senate proceed out of order, take up Senate Bill 23.
The motion is for the Senate to proceed out of order for consideration of Senate Bill 23. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. We'll proceed out of order and take up Senate Bill 23. Mr. Schaffler, will you please read the title of Senate Bill 23?
Senate Bill 23 by Senators Kolker and Kirkmeyer and Representative Hamrick concerning the financing of public schools.
Senator Kolker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 23 and the Appropriations Committee report? And Education Committee report, sorry. And the Appropriations Committee report.
All of them.
All of them.
To the Education Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We've added a number of technical amendments as requested by the Department of Education, nothing that really impacts the overall school finance authority that we have, things that just need to be done, and that's it.
The motion is the adoption of the Education Committee report to Senate Bill 23. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Education Committee report is adopted. To the Appropriations Committee report, Senator...
Appropriations Committee report?
Senator Kolker.
Thank you. Again, just moving through appropriations because we're dealing with school finance and school funding formula, so urge an aye vote.
The motion is the adoption of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Appropriations Committee report is adopted. To the bill. Senator Kolker.
Thank you. Before we get into the bill, I do have one amendment I need to add to the bill.
There is an amendment at the desk. Mr. Schaffler, will you please read L18?
Amendment L18.
Senator Kolker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Amendment L18 to Senate Bill 23.
To the amendment.
This is, again, just a technical fix. It's striking actually a misquoted section, striking 4 and substituting 15. Just a technical fix. I urge an aye vote.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion is the adoption of L18 to Senate Bill 23. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. L18 is adopted. To the bill. Senator Kirkmeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, this is the School Finance Act, and it doesn't have as much fanfare this year, or it has for the last couple of years. But just to let you know, first of all, that it increases the statewide base per pupil funding for the 26-27 budget year by $217.30 to account for inflation. It sets a new statewide base per pupil funding amount for the 26-27 budget year at $8,909.10. And it sets the total program funding for 26-27 budget year at $10,209,589. $10,209,589.
$209,589,888. And it doesn't say the pennies, so sorry, but that's what it does. Members, this implements current law. We kept the deal that was cut last year. We didn't make changes to it. We fully funded as required under the Constitution. We did not cut K-12 funding. In fact, the stability and predictability of the funding is what was praised in committee. We had the associations who said things like, wow, it's a clean school finance act, and they're in support. That it's clear value of protecting K-12 education, and that they're thankful that we honored the deals that were made in the last couple of years. So with that, I would ask for an aye vote. This is, again, we are fully funding K-12 education as required under the Constitution. Gosh, we figured out how to do it in our budget. We prioritized it thanks to the Kids Matter Fund that was created last year by myself and the good senator to the right of me. And so it's a great bill. Ask for an aye vote.
Senator Kolker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Worked hard on this bill. Was the first bill I introduced this year because we wanted to make education a priority. We wanted K-12 education to be at the forefront of what we were looking at with balancing our budget, with the shortfalls that we had, make sure that we knew where we wanted to be, because we have shortchanged education, K-12 education, so many times in the past. We did get rid of the BS factor, and we wanted to keep that as in the past and not bring that back. So by putting the school finance formula out first, it made us make sure that we prioritized it. I thank the JBC for their work in prioritizing it and making sure that we were not balancing our budget on the backs of our students. And just want to say that appreciation for my co-prime and for all the members of the JBC. You know, our budget has been balanced by cutting school funding below levels required by Amendment 23 of our state constitution in the past. We're not doing it this year. We've approached it as a priority. We are adjusting it for inflation this year. Current law, no shenanigans. There's nothing in this bill that really anybody should be worried about that was brought up at the last minute. We're not doing that. We took control of the bill, we took control of the financing, making sure those shenanigans stayed away from it this year. We're in dire need of additional funding for our K-3 classrooms to ensure early intervention in literacy and math. We do have declining enrollment, but we have increases in high-need special education require higher cost individualized support. As students progress through upper elementary and middle school, classes become larger. Firsthand experience with my own 8th grader, with less time available for each student. That leads to gaps which are challenging to resolve. You know, our teachers and our school staff, they work tirelessly. We've all heard about how we are underfunding education appropriately. We've increased that funding with Kids Matter. We've increased that funding with Amendment 23. It doesn't mean we have everything we need. So it's always a good time to prioritize public education, and our students and educators deserve adequate, reliable funding, and legislators who follow through on the promises we've made to voters to fully implement the new school finance formula and to fully fund our schools as soon as we can. I encourage an aye vote on this, and thank you for your time.
The motion is the adoption of Senate Bill 23. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 23 is adopted. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President, or Mr. Chair. I move the Senate proceed out of order to take up Senate Bill 93.
The Majority Leader will be credited $1, and we will proceed out of order for consideration of Senate Bill 93 if the Senate agrees to it. The motion is to proceed out of order. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. We'll proceed out of order for Senate Bill 93. Mr. Schaffler, will you please read Senate Bill 93, the title?
Senate Bill 93 by Senator Sullivan, Representative Morrow, concerning ensuring compliance with workers' compensation insurance coverage requirements.
Senator Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 93 and the appropriate committee reports.
To the committee reports.
Do I have a business?
Yep.
I move the business committee report.
Discussion on the business committee report.
During the Business and Labor Committee, we had discussions on the legislation and had a couple of amendments that put a construction cost on it and changed a may or a shall. And I ask for an aye vote.
The motion is the adoption of the committee report, of the Business, Labor, and Technology Committee report on Senate Bill 93. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee report is adopted. To the Appropriations Committee report, Senator Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In the Appropriations report, we brought through a amendment that removed the carve-out for DPO and removed the fiscal impact on the bill. And I ask for an aye vote.
The motion is the adoption of the Appropriations Committee report on Senate Bill 93. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Appropriations Committee report is adopted. To the bill, Senator Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a amendment.
I bet that amendment will be at the desk soon. That amendment is at the desk. Mr. Schauffele, will you please read L005?
Amendment L005, amend printed bill page
Senator
2.
Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Amendment L005 to Senate Bill 93 and ask for an aye vote.
So move to the amendment.
And in this one here, this is from discussions that we've had in the interim, and this is removing special districts from the bill. And with that, I ask for an aye vote.
The motion is adoption of L005 to Senate Bill 93. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. L005 is adopted. To the bill, Senator Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This bill here requires governmental entities to receive signed declarations regarding workers' compensation coverage or rejection of coverage for all applicants, general contractors, and some subcontractors before issuing a building or construction permit or license. We already have it's already unlawful to not cover workers with workers' compensation insurance. This unlawful behavior is often not caught until after someone gets hurt. That's why we need implementation of a bill like this. And with that, I ask for an aye vote.
Senator, listen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, I sit on the Business Affairs and Labor and Technology, and we heard this several weeks ago. And I rise in respectful opposition to Senate Bill 93. And let me kind of tell you why. There's more than one reason. This bill transfers a core state regulatory responsibility for workers' compensation onto local governments without funding, without training, and without any recognition that this work falls for outside the mission of municipal permitting for office, resulting in delayed permits and higher construction costs. The bill requirements are not incidental administrative tasks. They are substantive enforcement functions that require legal expertise, specialized training, and ongoing administrative capacity that municipalities are not equipped to do. The good senator from Centennial mentioned that with his amendment that it takes out the special districts, which is good because otherwise they too would be opposed to the bill. But let me tell you also who is opposed to the bill. The Colorado HBA, the Home Builders Association, they're opposed to this bill. The Association of General Contractors, they're opposed to this bill. C3, the Colorado Municipal League, which represents 270 communities, which is virtually all of our communities in the state of Colorado. Pikes Peak Regional Building Department is opposed to this bill. And Mr. Paul Torriello, who's the director of the Colorado Department of Labor and Employment, he came and testified against the bill. This bill, if it's passed, bypasses the structure entirely, forcing all 270 municipalities to take on verification, investigation, and enforcement functions that they were never designed to perform. The result of this will be delayed permits, higher construction costs, and municipalities expanded to legal liability for enforcement decisions that are outside their expertise. I would respectfully ask for a no vote on Senate Bill 93. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Rich.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I don't sit on that committee, so I wasn't in committee. But I do have, I appreciate maybe where they're trying to go with this bill. But in the fiscal note on page 3, under local government, this bill will increase costs for local governments to conduct additional reviews of contractors prior to issuing licenses and permits and to address any increase in complaints. It may decrease municipal permit revenue and sales and use tax by limiting the ability to issue permits, discouraging applicants for permits. These local costs are expected to be substantial and will vary depending on construction activity. There's been a lot of talk over the last year about unfunded mandates. And you know, when the state puts on an unfunded mandates, the counties aren't actually even required to do this. So while it's an unfunded mandate, and I'd probably encourage them not to since state law doesn't require them to, but I do still oppose this bill because we should have looked at that and made sure that the local governments were compensated. I ask for a no vote.
Senator Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and appreciate the comments there. That's why we came out with Amendment L004 to take those costs away from local government. That's why it was able to have a zero fiscal note moving forward, and that's why the Appropriations Committee was able to move it forward. So thank you.
Senator Benavides.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I rise in support of this bill. I think this is a creative way to get to employers who are using employees and not covering them under workers' comp. This has been a continuing problem, especially on construction sites with people that are misclassified in the work that they do. And I understand that there are people that saying it's a lot of work for local governments, but really having been a director of a construction company for over 30 years, what's required is a certification that all employees that work for the company will be under workers' comp, which is basically Pinnacle for most, and an exemption form, because oftentimes construction companies, they don't put their officers, their key employees under it. So this is a paperwork thing to guarantee before a permit is issued, and there's problems on the work site. And these permits, it's only for permits over $1 million. So it's not talking about small construction projects under that. So I think it's a good bill that gets to the root of the issue and may be able to protect some employees long-term down the road. I'm in strong support of this bill. Thank you.
The motion is the passage of Senate Bill 93. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. No. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 93 is adopted. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the Senate proceed out of order, take up Senate Bill 155.
The motion is to proceed out of order for consideration of Senate Bill 155. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. You can't vote twice, Mr. Minority Leader, and the ayes have it. We'll proceed out of order for consideration of Senate Bill 155. Mr. Schaffel, will you please read the title of that bill?
Senate Bill 155 by Senator Mullica and Representatives McCluskey and Brown concerning increasing the availability of homeowners insurance in the state.
Senator Mullica.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 155 and the Finance Committee report.
To the Finance Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We made several amendments in the Finance Committee report, or Finance Committee, to largely address concerns raised by stakeholders. We clarified which insurers are subject to the bill. We added that the board member with expertise in insurance and/or home hardening must have technical expertise. We aligned the references to the roofing standards, removed ability to collect penalties, added a requirement to share the wildfire study with the GA and posting it publicly, and also clarified carrier reporting related to savings as a result of the grant program. Would ask for a yes vote.
Motion is the adoption of the Finance Committee report on Senate Bill 155. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Finance Committee report is adopted to the bill. There is an amendment at the desk. Mr. Schaffel, will you please read L007?
Amendment L007.
Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move L007.
To the amendment.
Great. So what this does is it just adds some information, some data on the Strengthen Homes program and information about the wildfire study in the ledge deck, just saying that this has worked in other states. And then it removes references to any insurer penalties. We had removed fines previously in the bill, and this was just kind of a cleanup. It removes a provision related to lowering the fee if the insurer becomes insolvent. So if a carrier becomes insolvent, existing statutes would apply and prohibit them from making the payment. And then it also adds a component to add reporting to the workforce development grants that will be going out by the board. So I'd ask for an aye vote.
The motion is the adoption of L007 to Senate Bill 155. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. L007 is adopted. To the bill, there is another amendment at the desk. Mr. Schaffel, will you please read L11?
Amendment L11.
Senator Mullica.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Amendment L11.
To the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Amendment L11 adds that when the board is making determinations for grant eligibility, they can consider whether the home is located in a locality with hail-resistant building code requirements when making grant determinations. This amendment also clarifies who the relevant stakeholders are when making determinations about the reinsurance study portion of this bill, including the reinsurers, consumers, representatives of insurance writing, homeowners insurance policies in the state of Colorado. Would ask for a yes vote.
The motion is the adoption of L11 to Senate Bill 155. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. L11 is adopted. There is another amendment at the desk. Mr. Schaffler, will you please read L10?
Amendment L10. Amend printed bill,
Senator
page
Mullica.
17.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Amendment L10.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Amendment L10 clarifies grant program money as a fee revenue, also clarifies money generated in the form of fee revenue allocated to the administrative needs, development necessary workforce, or installation and certification of resilient roofing systems shall not exceed 3%, and make sure that 90% of the dollars that are being generated are going to replace hardened roofs rather than other places. And so it asks for a yes vote.
Motion is the adoption of L10 to Senate Bill 155. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and L10 is adopted.
That's a good one, yeah.
To the bill, Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and just really excited to be bringing this bill this year. Last year, there was work that was done, and it was certainly yeoman's work on a House bill that made it over here and had a bit of a demise in the Senate, and it was largely because there was a fee that was associated with not having the appropriate Class 4 roof. And the fee was going to go on the people who were probably trying to save up for the roofs. And so that was a challenge. And so my colleague did a lot of work on this, and the industry and coalition really came together to make sure that there are no fees on property owners, on people who are already struggling just to pay their bills. I do just want to speak a little bit about why this is a statewide concern. Hail and wind is a bigger threat to our insurance industry than is wildfire. We've had a couple of huge storms that don't last very long, but they cause huge damage, maybe even more so than the Marshall Fire in one hailstorm in August of 2024. And so it's something that we're constantly dealing with. And that gets passed on to ratepayers across the state. So these are people, in El Paso County, where they may not have as much hail and wind as they have up in Sterling or in Loveland, where I live. They're still paying about half of their insurance rate is because of wind and hail. So I just applaud those who've worked on this bill, all the stakeholders, everyone who's come together for this. I am really excited to see how this is going to play out. I want to flag for folks that this is not an immediate fix. This has happened in other states, Mississippi and Alabama, and it happens over the course of a couple of years that we should start to see the insurance go down across Colorado. So that's the vision, that's the goal. I appreciate your consideration of this policy. I urge an aye vote.
Senator Mullica.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, my co-sponsor from Loveland, for those words. I also want to take this opportunity to thank sponsors from last year, Senator Mabele and Senator Snyder specifically here in our chamber, who have worked on this issue. And unfortunately, I think the two of us couldn't get there in support of a bill last year. But I think we can agree that we wouldn't be standing here today talking about this without the work that they did, even if it was a place that we couldn't get in support of. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the industry who came in a sincere way to the table with the Division of Insurance to really try to, I think, solve what is a real problem. One of the issues I had last year with the legislation is that this idea that we're going to increase the cost on homeowners to try to come up with a grant program. We specifically in this bill work to address that. We specifically have language in the bill saying that this fee is not going to be a direct surcharge on consumers, on homeowners. And we worked with the industry, and the industry is all agreeing, publicly stating that this bill is going to lower the cost of homeowners insurance. That's a real problem all over in our districts. I'm sure that if you've had a town hall, I'm sure if you've knocked on any doors, you've heard about it, that homeowners insurance is becoming more and more unaffordable and that people cannot afford it. And one of the driving forces for that is hail. And there's some of our communities that we represent in this room, upwards of 50 to 60% of the cost of your homeowner's insurance is due to hail. What this bill does is it creates a grant program to try to get hardened roofs on homes. So you can go and your roof needs replaced, and let's say it's $10,000 for a normal shingle roof. Most people, they don't have a lot of money sitting around, so they go and they pay $10,000 for a normal shingle roof. Well, maybe it's $15,000 to get a hardened roof. We know that if you can get a hardened roof, that you're not going to have to replace that roof as often. We know that's when you don't have to replace the roof as often, the insurance isn't as expensive. And so what this bill does is this bill has these pool of funds to try to help cover that delta, so that when that homeowner has to go replace their roof, that they have an option to get that hardened roof on and not have to pay more than if they were just going to get a normal shingle roof on. There's also components in the bill that has workforce development to make sure that our roofing industry is trained on how to install these roofs. There's also a component on the bill that's going to study reinsurance for wildfires. We've heard from our mountain communities that we want to really start looking at that. And so we've given the space to have that conversation. But I want to be clear, what this bill is doing is it's bringing down the cost of homeowners insurance. It's addressing the number one cause of homeowners insurance rising. And you can go talk to folks in Alabama who've implemented a similar program that's putting out $1 million a year, and they're seeing a huge return on that. We're looking at putting out 20 times that in a year. And so I think that we have a real potential here to address what I think is a real issue in our state that impacts all of our districts. I'm excited to bring it. I'm excited to be on this bill with Senator Marchman. Thank you for everyone who's worked on it, and I would ask for a yes vote.
The solvency of the homeowners insurance enterprise will be increased by $1 with a contribution from Senator Mullica for referring to two other members by name. Minority Leader Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Heard this bill in Finance Committee and a few thoughts about the concept. And it really is creating yet another enterprise to intend to solve another problem. I can't help but think about, we've created enterprises for lowering healthcare costs in the state. I think we're going to have a discussion about that in Finance Committee soon. We've created enterprises for reducing congestion along the Front Range. We've created enterprises for addressing climate change. I don't have great confidence that creation of yet another enterprise is going to be impactful in this space. I hope it is. Like, I have my fingers crossed. The other challenge for me is, like, this is paid for not out of your policyholders' premiums, but a 0.5% fee on the insurance carriers. Why, like, if they're the solution to the problem, why do we need to create an enterprise for them to solve a problem they recognize they have the ability to solve on their own? We just passed an amendment that allows them to keep the enterprise board, the newly created enterprise board, keep 3% of the fee for administrative costs and for workforce training. It just seems to be compounding the issue of, if there's a solution and if it's in the space that the providers know what it is and how to do it, why don't we just enable them, encourage them? I'm not sure why we want to create yet another enterprise and collect over the next 5 years $100 million to put forward to this enterprise to harden roofs, I guess, make them more hail resistant. It's just a little challenging for me. I was part of the conversation last year, and the good senator from Thornton and I agreed that putting this fee on policyholders was problematic. So I applaud him for the effort to go through to get to a different, funding mechanism for it. I'm just not convinced that creating yet another enterprise is going to be impactful. So I guess fingers crossed. I suspect the bill will pass. I don't have any, sorry, I won't go that way. But anyway, I rise in opposition to Senate Bill 155. And again, thank you to the good sponsors. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
The motion is the adoption of Senate Bill 155. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. No. Somehow the ayes have it. 155 is adopted. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the Senate proceed out of order to take up Senate Bill 146.
Motion is to proceed out of order for consideration of Senate Bill 146. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Will proceed out of order for consideration of Senate Bill 146. Mr. Schaffel, will you please read the title of Senate Bill 146?
Senate Bill 146 by Senator Cutter and Representative Froelich concerning restricting the distribution of single-use food serviceware.
Senator Cutter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 146 and the Health and Human Services Committee report.
To the Health and Human Services report.
So, thank you. In Health and Human Services, we did a few amendments to clarify for folks. We did one for Uber at their request, just to clarify the language for them. We made sure that we exempted patient meals from the Ask First model. So if it was a hospital or healthcare facility and they're taking food to a patient, they can, whatever, they don't have to ask them if they want utensils, they just bring it. And we did some changes in the ledge deck based on some stakeholder feedback. And we just clarified some language around the asking first so that it was clear for people what they needed, what we expected them to do. So I ask for your support of the committee report.
The motion is the adoption of the Health and Human Services Committee report to Senate Bill 146. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes still have it. The committee report is adopted. To the bills, Senator Cutter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, standing next to me, you don't see them, but there's two students that, Erica Choi and Dominic Redman, who reached out to me earlier this fall, or last fall, and brought to me this idea that was fully baked. They had done a ton of research, language, I mean, and these are young high school students from Cherry Creek that had put together language, you know, reasonable language about how they wanted to extend some work we had done to eliminate styrofoam. And because that bill, we started engaging with them, and I said, I really want this to be one of my last bills. It's really important to me to work with students and young people and help them understand the process and understand that they have a place here and that we will listen to them and feel comfortable in that. And so we started engaging with stakeholders and decided to pivot a little bit because I'm going to tell you it's because of cost. We wanted to be very aware and mindful of cost to consumers and cost to businesses. And so we kind of scuttled the original work and we ended up on a bill to skip the stuff. And what that means, you may have heard the term before, what that means is just that you have to ask before you throw something in the bag for to-go orders. That's all. You just have to ask. It doesn't mean you can't use plastic. It doesn't mean you can't use napkins. It doesn't mean you can't use hot sauce, whatever, condiments. It just means that you have to ask them before including that in the meal. Lots of people already do it. Lots of people already have the thing where you can say you don't want utensils. It will save so much in costs and in waste. We use nearly 1 trillion of disposable food service products each year in the United States. We don't need all of this stuff. If you need it, you need it. Fine, no one's saying you can't have it. So that's all. It's a pretty simple bill, prevents a lot of waste, which, by the way, costs consumers. This will save restaurants money because they don't have to automatically throw it in there and they're all on the same playing field. But when you have excessive waste, I hear a lot about landfills in my committees. Landfills cost money. Landfills are not infinite. Dig deeper. I mean, you have to create more landfills. There are certain regulations around landfills. We're keeping things out of landfills that don't need to be there. So it will save communities money. It will save restaurants money. Food service businesses can save $3,000 to $22,000 annually by adopting some of these practices. So I would ask for your support.
Senator Kirkmeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I rise in opposition to 146. I appreciate the comments from the good senator from Jefferson County. However, I'm just going to point out and kind of go through this bill, and let's talk about what the bill does and doesn't do. So first of all, it actually isn't that the retail food establishment or third-party food delivery service should ask. This is what it says on page 5, and I don't know, maybe it got changed in an amendment. I was trying to look through that real quick and I didn't see it. But on page 5 it says, the retail food establishment or third-party food delivery service shall not provide the customer with single-use food serviceware unless the customer requests, unless the customer asks. So it's not that okay, I don't know how many of you ever worked at a fast food restaurant, but I did. I worked at Burger King, where you hold the pickles, hold the lettuce, all that kind of stuff. Remember that catchy little special orders, don't upset us kind of thing? You still work there? Anyways, so now you've got, a young person, I think I was just barely 16, working there, and if they don't ask, right, that did not change in the bill, did it? Thank you. Thank you for the good senator from Jefferson County for shaking her head no. So The retail food establishment or the third-party food delivery service shall not provide the customer with single-use food service unless the customer requests the single-use food service or they confirm that the customer wants single-use food service. So, I mean, can you believe it? I mean, I go to a lot of fast food services, and so instead of my pleasure, they're going to say, are you sure you really need those 14 packets of ketchup? And I'm going to say, yes, I do, because I don't buy ketchup at the store because I get it here, and it's really good. And I think that's saving things into the landfill. So, I mean, they're going to have to ask, and then the customer has to ask the young person or the individual who's at the retail food establishment is going to have to confirm. And I hope they don't pass judgment, because I do ask for a lot of condiments, including ketchup. I don't really ask for mustard so much. I'm trying to think what else was in here. Mustard, mayonnaise, I don't really ask for that. Creamer, I don't drink coffee, so I don't ask for that. Butter, yeah. Who doesn't ask for a bunch of butter? Everything's better with butter, and I need that at home as well. I work here long hours. I don't have time to go to the store all the time. So yes, when I stop by the fast food restaurant, I ask for butter. I ask for additional soy sauce because I like to use it on all sorts of things, not just the Chinese food that I just bought at a certain fast food restaurant. Hot sauce. Hot sauce is something that you have to ask for now. So yes, I have a whole drawer full of hot sauce. In fact, and there's other things: jam, jelly, salt, sugar, and pepper, and sweetener. For goodness sakes, please do not come over to the Joint Budget Committee into our little kitchenette area. There is a whole drawer full of this stuff, a whole drawer full. And I don't know if they all asked for it or not. And I don't think the retail service should have to get. Did I do something wrong there?
I do have a correction.
You do have a correction? Okay, I'll let you go. I'll let you go next.
Senator Cutter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the good senator from Weld County. How could I forget? I do want to clarify, that was in one of the amendments. So it says that they shall not provide the customer with single-use food serviceware unless the customer requests, or, and then we did in the amendment say, ask or asked if they would like. So the restaurant can ask if they would like. That's the intention, is that they ask if, so it is in there that they have to ask.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Senator Kirkmeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, great. So now they have to ask. And then they still have to confirm, I'm assuming, and I still have to tell them that I want, 14 packets of ketchup. Or, yes, I do need 10 packages of taco sauce with my 2 tacos. Yes, I do, because I take the rest home and I use it on other things. But, and here's the other thing, and let me just check and make sure I'm looking at these pages. Page 6, line 26. Okay, so page 6, line 26. This section does not apply to the following. And we are saying that it does apply to the following on page 6, line 26. Apparently, this section does not apply to the following. And it says strike this section and substitute subsection 1A and 1B of this section. A and 1B. Now I'm going to have to figure out what that says, because I don't have a pre-amended bill.
Senator Kirkmeyer, it's a number 26 without the menu items listed in I think that's how it works.
It takes out all the condiments?
I think that's how the menu item works. We should have a screen that you could just reference the drive-through.
That I could just, I'm sorry.
We should have a screen that you can just reference the drive-through to make sure the order is correct.
Okay, well, I'm not sure what all the amendments did, but the original bill had things like places that do not have to comply with the following, though all food establishments are encouraged to comply with this section. Apparently, so not all of them have to. And as I'm reading through here, I'm looking at, on page 7, line 9B. I don't think this was amended. So what it says is they don't have to comply with meals that are provided as part of a social service program directed at serving one or more vulnerable populations, such as school children in income-eligible households, individuals experiencing homelessness, or elderly individuals. So meals provided as part of a social service program, they don't have to comply. Yet we had an amendment that said the impacts of, and this is in the legislative declaration, it says that the impacts of single-use plastic items constitute an environmental justice issue, and that that disproportionately burdens communities identified as disproportionately impacted communities and enacted through the Environmental Justice Act as enacted in 2021 by House Bill 21-1266. These communities include those with higher proportions of low-income households. So I'm kind of confused here with this language where it says meals as provided as a social service program directed at serving one or more vulnerable populations, yet in the legislative declaration, which is new language that was added in, it says the impacts of single-use plastic items constitute an environmental justice issue. I want you to think about it. Meals on Wheels, kids getting school programs, any of those other human services or social services programs that take meals out to individuals. We're saying that, God, the impact that constitute an environmental justice issue, it's okay. This bill doesn't comply with it. At least that's how I'm understanding it in the first place. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe that was amended, but I would think that there was some irony there when we say that it's okay, that it doesn't apply to the following, even though it's encouraged to all food establishments to comply with this, and one of those is meals as provided in part of a social service program, where we say in the ledge deck that, you know what, the impacts of single-use plastic items constitute an environmental justice issues for these certain communities that are disproportionately burdened, and those communities include those with higher portions of low-income households. So why would we allow it to do that? Why would we allow anyone to do it? Don't they count? I mean, why would that be okay, that you can give away as many as you want without asking or confirming or them asking for a social service program that is serving more vulnerable populations, such as school children, income-eligible households, individuals experience homelessness, or elderly individuals? Doesn't really seem to be, I mean, I'm thinking there's some irony here with regard to this. You know, using language that signifies one thing, but then in the bill saying two different things, especially when you use it in the ledge deck, the legislative declaration. You know, there's another thing that here that says the section doesn't apply to the following: single-use food service intended to prevent spills. I just want to say thank you. But this is a little confusing. But the reason I'm going to say thank you is because remember, I know you all say, you all know I talk about one of my grandsons on a very regular time, but I have 6 grandsons, so thank you for not including intended to prevent spills. But it is a little confusing when I read in the definition that it could include trays. So is the tray that they put all the drinks on, you know, that cardboard tray, if it was plastic, you could use it or you couldn't use it? It's just confusing how this is written, and who's supposed to know? So, but the most confusing part and the most irony part here is when you start getting back to the very last page of the bill. And I looked, I didn't see where there was an amendment on these sections on page 8, where it talks about enforcement. And it says, on or before January 1, 2027, the department shall establish a page on the department's public website, so that's the Department of Public Health and Environment, that includes a description of the requirements of this section and the enforcement mechanism set forth in section 2517-507. So I happened to notice the same similar language in the fiscal note, and so I went and looked up 2517-507, and yes, it's pretty much stated in the fiscal note. But in the fiscal note, here's what happens. Here's the enforcement. It's on local governments. So local governments
municipalities and counties may, they don't have to, but they may enforce it. But they don't have to enforce it. So we're putting something into law to encourage, I guess, but actually to make it look like these are shells that you have to ask. And if you don't ask, the local government may enforce a violation of this part. I'm not sure how they're going to do that, but they could do it. And it's against a store or retail food establishment that is located within the boundaries of the local government in the manner that the local government chooses. Now, remember, there are municipalities and there are counties. So municipalities get to enforce this, maybe, if they want to. I don't know how they're going to do that. I guess maybe they could they could put an ordinance in place, and then I guess they could go to all their fast food restaurants or their food establishments and ask for, or not ask for anything and see if they get asked, and then I guess that would be a violation. I don't know why they would do it, but I guess that would be how they do it. But municipalities get to do it in a manner that the local government chooses, which also means fines. They get to do it they get to put the fine on that they want. Now, if you're a county, however, so this is not fair. If you're a county, you get to enforce the violation against a store or retail food establishment located in the unincorporated boundaries of the county. You may seek injunctive relief against the store, and you may assess the following civil penalties against the store or retail food establishment. Up to $500 on the second violation. $500 if you give out one packet of soy sauce too much. $500. $500 if you give out too many packages of utensils, if they're not single service. And on the third violation, it could be $1,000. My gosh, those fines are more than the fine that that small town up in Will County is charging for people who speed carelessly on the county highway that I helped get built up there. Those fines are only $350. But if you give out too much plastic utensils or napkins or anything plastic that's in these definitions, you could be fined. Your retail establishment could be fined because, I don't know, maybe that young kid, like, me, when I was 16 years old, didn't even think to go ask. Didn't know I was supposed to. Maybe I'm tired. Maybe I just don't care, and I'm not going to ask. And it could be the second violation, and all of a sudden, that retail establishment is getting charged $500. If it's the third violation, they could be charged up to $1,000. That's a lot of money to be fined. So I don't know if someone's going to lose their job over that or not, but that's a lot. So anyways, there's just a lot in this bill that, I get it. We're trying to stop pollution. I think that's a good idea. But I think the way we're going about it here is just not the way to go about it. And then I read through the legislative declaration. And I don't know if everyone reads through legislative declarations all the time, but there are sometimes that things catch my eye. And in this case, it was right pretty much in the beginning. The legislative declaration always starts off the same way, where it says, the General Assembly finds, determines, and declares. We declare that. That's in the first paragraph. In the second paragraph, so start thinking about this. The General Assembly finds, determines, and declares that customers are increasingly frustrated with the amount of single-use items they receive with food service orders. I'm just going to challenge that statement in the legislative declaration. I'm not frustrated by it. I haven't heard anybody who is frustrated by it. I haven't certainly heard any of my grandsons who are with me when we frequent these fast food places. They're not frustrated by it. In fact, they ask for more all the time, or they go up and get more, or they just want a bunch, or they know they need to take it home. Anyways, so if you ask for more, who's frustrated? I just have not heard that. So with that, I have an amendment.
There is an amendment at the desk. Mr. Schoffel, will you please read L006?
Amendment L006, amend printed bill page 2, strike lines 11 through 13, read letter succeeding paragraphs accordingly.
Senator Kirkmeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move L006.
To the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Amendment L006 is pretty simple. It just removes lines 11 through 13 in the legislative declaration, and they're the lines that I just read, that customers are increasingly frustrated with the amount of single-use items they receive with food service orders. I don't believe that to be correct. I don't know where that came from. I have never heard anyone say that. It seems like we're trying to put words in people's mouths and basically presume that they're frustrated because they maybe get, I don't know, a couple of single-use items and they only needed one. I'm sure most people use those. A lot of people use those when they're going someplace and they're taking food with them and they want to be able to use those as their utensils. A lot of, I know, like with the case of my daughter, she puts them in her children's lunch pack so that they know that they're eating off of clean utensils. Many individuals prefer to rely on single-use utensils. For example, think college students who may not have access to personal silverware. Again, please don't go over to the Joint Budget Committee because there's a whole drawer full of utensils, plastic utensils in the drawer. And yes, I use them. And I'm thankful that people brought them because then I don't have to wash a fork or a spoon or something at the JBC because I may not have time or I may be taking the food with me someplace. So they're all over there. Many individuals prefer that. Office employees, like all of us over at the Joint Budget Committee, and I bet even here, there are people who have these single-use utensils in their drawers, in their desk someplace, but office employees who use them with packed lunches, parents who provide them for children who may not be reliably keep track of reusable utensils at school, or they want to make sure that they have their own specific utensils so they don't get all those germs at the school. But anyways, the amendment is very simple. It just says, we shouldn't be just presuming that customers are increasingly frustrated. We shouldn't be putting things, I don't believe, into ledge decks where we just presume that we think what everybody is thinking, especially when I don't know that I've ever heard anyone say, and I'm sure there have been some people, but I haven't heard anyone say that customers, that they're increasingly frustrated with the amount of single-use items they receive with food service orders. Most people I know think it's a great idea. They like to take home the extra condiment packages. They like to take home the extra utensils, and they use them in other places. It's not like throughout the bill that there weren't exceptions made throughout this bill for different places determining who gets to use these things and who can have this and who doesn't have to say, how many Taco Bell packets do you need? How many sauce packets do you need? And do you need the fire or do you need the hot or do you want the mild? I mean, what are they supposed to do? I mean, do they have to be that specific? I just don't know. But I am asking for an aye vote on this amendment. And again, it just takes out the part that says customers are increasingly frustrated. I don't think we should presume that customers are increasingly frustrated. I think most people like their condiments, like the single-use utensils that they get to take home and use in other places, and they're very thankful for it. So ask for an aye vote on Amendment 6. Thank you.
Senator Cutter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have no problem with this amendment. That's fine. If I don't think it substantively does anything to the bill, so vote how you like.
The motion is adoption of L006 to Senate Bill 146. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. L006 is adopted. Senator Liston.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the lively discussion that we're having over the fast food industry. Well, if there's any industry that has suffered here over the last few years, it is the restaurant industry. I shouldn't say just the fast food industry. Lord knows that, like I say, over the last several years, what the restaurant industry, whether it's fast food or otherwise, what's going on, just to give you some idea of why it's tough in the restaurant industry. I'll just give you some examples. Is that over the last 2 years, we've had the paid sick leave, which was Senate Bill 2205, which has cost restaurants up to $8,000 or more per employee. We've had the Family Medical Leave Act, which was Proposition 118, which costs restaurants anywhere from $200 to $3,500. We've had the Wage Enforcement Act. We've had the Utility Clean Bill rate increase. We've had all kinds of legislation that has impacted the restaurant industry. And I can appreciate where the good senator from Jefferson County is coming from. I believe in the adage, waste not, want not. And I know when I go to a restaurant, particularly a fast food, a lot of times, if you notice, the employees are trained to give out the various packets, whether it's ketchup or taco sauce or whatever it may be. They'll automatically sometimes, it varies from restaurant to restaurant, they'll throw in a handful of napkins, the plastic forks, whatever it may be. I think they're trained to do that. Now then, the management, I've noticed though, as you go to some of the fast food restaurants, they don't necessarily put the plastic out there. You have to ask for it time and time again, which is understandable, and particularly on the drive-up. But certainly, I would say that we don't need to have the ketchup cops that are going to, stand there and ask, that you get 3 packets of ketchup. That's all you get is 3. And how dare you ask for 4, or else we're going to turn you in, to the cops, the ketchup cops. And also there's the napkin nannies, you say, well, can I have 2 napkins? Well, no, we got to check with management to see how many napkins that you can get. So, I just don't believe that we need the heavy hand of government telling the restaurateurs what to do. They know better than anybody that they want to run a clean business and that they want to be environmentally correct. Speaking for myself, just so you know, is I keep my plastic forks. I think I would earn a environmental A+, because I don't throw my plastic forks away. I keep them, I use them. The napkins I use until they're practically worn out. But with that in mind, there are different types of, you never know what I'm hearing. You never want to eat with me, but that's okay. So with that in mind, Mr. Chairman, is that there are different types of restaurants that deserve an exemption. And with that, I do have an amendment in mind. And I'll give it to the good senator from Jefferson County. Here we go.
There is an amendment. It's not at the desk, but there is an amendment.
It's coming. It's coming, Mr. Chairman. Excuse me. There we go.
Now there's an amendment at the desk. Mr. Schaffler, will you please read L9?
Amendment L9, amend printed bill.
Sarah
page 3.
Liston.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move Amendment L009 to Senate Bill 146.
To the amendment.
Members, what this does, it excludes farmers markets and roadside markets from the current definition of retail food establishments. We all drive by. In fact, there's probably some right down the street here on Colfax or on the highways and so forth. These are, little mom and pop businesses. They have their trucks and or they're set up a stand of, food and so forth. This would exclude these farmers markets and roadside market from the definition of retail food establishment. Applying the same definition as a full-scale retail food establishment places unnecessary regulatory burdens on these small farmers and vendors that are just trying to conduct their everyday business and customer service. I think you can appreciate where I'm coming from. Not all food sales environments are the same. This amendment ensures that the law reflects these different types of retail food establishments. And with that, I would ask for an aye vote on Amendment L019 to Senate Bill 146.
Senator Cutter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Asking if you'd like a fork doesn't feel like an overly burdensome request, or requirement. So I would dispute that this is an unnecessary burden, and I would ask for your no vote.
Senator Liston.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, members, there again, these small businesses, you know, they are small businesses. It's typically the person in the food truck, or they've set up a temporary food stand along the road or downtown, whatever. They're just trying to make a few dollars, an honest living. And like I say, they are there to try and get the customer to come back and offer, a plastic fork, a plastic knife, whatever it may be, and then for us and for the government to tell them how to be running their little mom and pop business. Emphasis on little. These are roadside stands, and we just don't need, I feel, and I think many of you would agree with me, we don't need to have the, as I call it again, the ketchup cops and the packaging police telling them how to run their business. So with that, I would respectfully ask for an aye vote on Amendment L009.
The motion is the adoption of L009 to Senate Bill 146. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. No. The noes have it. L9 is lost. Senator Bright.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For those viewers that are watching us around the world, you can't understand the smell that's going on here right now. Some of our colleagues are eating lunch, and wish I was eating lunch. I'm here to talk about 146, but I don't have a fork, and so I can't also eat lunch because I can't use a fork to go do that because I wasn't overserved a fork on the last meal that I ate here. I rise with questions about Senate Bill 146. I feel like we're just digging a little bit deep here. So much to say. I worry about the vendors, the food vendors that will be brought into this that may make a mistake and then face a fine. I can tell you that I've been to several places where we've received plastic cutlery to dig in, to lunch, to dinner, to breakfast, and my fork broke. And I got another one, and that was okay. Well, what if a food vendor offers 2 forks because they know that they got a batch of not so good forks, planning to change the source of those forks later on down the road, but yet they want to do right by the customer and give that customer 2 forks just in case that first one breaks. They know they're going down the road. They know the fork is just a little bit brittle, maybe from an old batch or something like that. But yeah, they're gonna face a fine for extending a courtesy to our friends. Man, that just doesn't sound American. Other things that come to mind when I get something that comes along with plasticware, it comes in a packet, a little packet of a fork, a spoon, a knife, a napkin, maybe some salt and pepper. Maybe I'm just going to use the fork. Maybe the protein that I'm digging into I can get through with that plastic fork. Maybe the plastic fork is starting to fold over, and so I'm going to get that knife out, and I'm going to go ahead and work on that protein with my knife. So all the rest of the stuff in that packet, I didn't see anything in the bill that said that I could do that. So now I can only get the fork and maybe the knife if I ask for it. I don't know. This seems a little bit overboard. Another concern I have, what happens when we're working with a food vendor that maybe doesn't speak the same language that we do? How many languages are prevalent in Colorado? How many of them know English? I mean, how does that work? Our good friends who maybe don't know English, who are trying to make a living serving food, because that's what they know how to do, maybe they may make a mistake, and I say, yes, I want something, or no, I don't want something, and it's not translated right, and they inadvertently give me an extra fork or a knife or something that I didn't need. The fork Nazis are going to come? Was that what you said? The police, which police? The packaging police are going to come and implement a fine. Okay. All right. I'm going to remember that. And so I'm concerned about the ability for us to have those translations done correctly. And with that, I think we can make the bill better.
There is an amendment at the desk. Mr. Shuffler, will you please read L10?
Amendment L10.
Senator Bright.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Amendment L10 to Senate Bill 146.
To the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this would exempt food service providers who don't speak English and may stumble into a mistake and be fined as a result. I just want to make sure that those folks are considered in this process, and I don't want them to inadvertently be subject to a fine as a result of mistaking a yes for a no, or I want 3 instead of 2, or whatever that is. And so I would encourage an aye vote on Amendment L10.
Senator Cutter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I request a no vote on Amendment L10.
The motion is the adoption of L10 to Senate Bill 146. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. No. The noes have it. L10 is lost. To the bill, Senator Bright.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, concerns about the ability to be compliant with this bill. A lot of our food that's consumed in different areas requires plastic cutlery, plastic silverware, and it's not really practicable to bring metal, steel, whatever you want to make your forks and knives and spoons out of. It's not really practical to bring them and then turn around and wash them and make them ready to go. And some of those areas where those things are done predominantly are farmers markets, concerts, festivals, cultural events where food establishments operate. And I can see potential mistakes here. I can see people tripping into being subject to a fine or a penalty inadvertently. You know, you're looking at a group of kids who are there to eat sundaes, and you're not quite sure how many kids are there, and you hand out the sundaes, and some of them have 2 and some of them have 1, and you hand them appropriate number to cover everybody, to make sure everybody has one, and yet you make a mistake and accidentally overserve a plastic fork or spoon. And so I feel like we need to make this bill better by acknowledging the presence of those spaces where those kind of things are done.
There is an amendment at the desk. Mr. Schaffler, will you please read L008?
Amendment L008.
Senator Bright.
Bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Amendment L8 to SB 146.
So moved to the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this amendment essentially recognizes farmers markets, public concerts, festivals, or cultural events where food establishments operate, and says, hey, we understand that there might be some mistakes there. We understand that we're doing the best that we can, and we want to make sure that we're not fined for just trying to provide people food and drink in a public space. And so I feel like Amendment L8 addresses this specifically and gets us to a good place, a better place on this bill. Thank you.
Senator Cutter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the good senator from Platteville. However, this is what happens. You order your sundaes, and the person says, how many spoons would you like? Do you want spoons? And then they say, yes, we'll take 5 spoons. And then they give them 5 spoons. And then no one has any problem, no harm, no foul. And I am willing to bet that if you get more than 1 spoon, the child receiving said sundae is not going to call the plastic police. So I would urge a no vote on this.
The motion is the adoption of L008. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. No. Noes have it. L8 is lost. To the bill, Senator Frizzell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, this has been a lively and interesting conversation, and I especially want to say how much I appreciate the alliteration of my good colleague from Colorado Springs. Who would have thought how impressive he could be with that? One of the things that I think is a bit of a concern with this bill, many things I have concerns with this bill, but I don't know about you all, but when I am trying to juggle napkins and forks and spoons and maybe a knife and I drop them, I'm very grateful to have the prepackaged, easy to use with the salt and pepper already inside, although there's never enough salt and pepper because I'm kind of a salt person. But I kind of appreciate having the convenience of being able to hold that easily in my hand without having to drop the fork, and then I've got to go get another one or whatever. The other thing is I think that it can be, especially for delivery purposes, it can be an easier proposition for those delivering food. But this bill, actually, if you look at page 6, beginning on lines 6, it says a retail food establishment or third-party food delivery service shall not create, acquire, or provide a customer with a bundled package that contains more than one type of single-use food serviceware item, sorry. And so that means that, I don't know, I always think it's kind of nice, especially if it's a nicer place you're getting takeout from, where they have a nice quality paper napkin, and maybe they put like that really little sticker thing on it so that everything stays together nice and tidy, because I'm a little OCD from that perspective. So I appreciate that extra effort. I appreciate having all the utensils that I need to eat my takeout meal. God knows we eat enough takeout meals here. And so, members, with that, I have an amendment.
Oh, there's an amendment at the desk.
What?
Mr. Schauffele, will you please read L7?
Amendment L7, amend printed bill page 6, strike line 6 through 9.
Senator Frizzell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Amendment L007 to Senate Bill 146.
To Amendment number 7.
All right, so as previously described, I read this section. It was on page 6, lines 6 through 9, that talks about, it's prohibiting, actually, a retail food establishment or third-party food delivery service. You cannot do that anymore. So no more nice napkins, packaging, the plastic ware, or sometimes it's bamboo. I kind of like the bamboo stuff. I think so. Not all places do that, but I appreciate that extra effort. The first time I ever had the bamboo was I was actually in London, and I thought, this is an amazing thing. Leave it to the, yeah, it was an Indian restaurant in London. And I did not have to ask for my serviceware. But that said, I really think that we should be able to have that food establishments, retail food establishments or delivery services should have the opportunity to package the utensils with the napkin, and I fundamentally disagree with the prohibition of it. I ask for your aye vote on this important amendment.
Senator Cutter.
Members, I ask for a no vote on this amendment.
The motion is a division has been requested. Respectfully. A division has been respectfully requested. So we will wait for members to return to the chamber. A division has been requested. The motion before the body is the adoption of L007 to Senate Bill 146. All those in the chamber not entitled to vote, please be seated. With regards to that motion, all those in favor, please stand and remain standing and do not move about the chamber. Please be seated. All those opposed, please stand, remain standing, and do not move about the chamber. The chair is not in doubt. L007 is lost. Senator Bridges.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just want to say this is a very knife debate we're having here. Lots of people who clearly give a fork about this bill, but I do hope that we wrap it up spoon.
Senator Kipp.
Thank you, Taylor.
One thing I have always appreciated in the 8 years now that I have worked with my good colleague from Jefferson County is that she has been on a crusade for zero waste. And I want you to think about the drawers that you might have at home that are filled with the stuff that people give you because it's just easy. But why? We don't need all this stuff. I really am a big fan of this bill and am excited to support it, and I hope all of you will too, because it is just the right thing to do. We have recycle buckets in the chamber. People don't put paper in them. Come on, folks. It is not that hard to do a little bit so that we can have a better, cleaner planet. Thank you.
Anybody else who would like to support to Senate Bill 146? Seeing none, the motion is the adoption of Senate Bill 146. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. 146 is passed. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to lay over the balance of the calendar until Wednesday, April the 29th.
Motion to lay over the balance of the calendar until tomorrow, April 29th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The remainder of the calendar will lay over. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion is for the committee to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The aye has it. The committee will rise and report.
Kathy.
The Senate will come to order. Senator Henriksen.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your committee of the whole has met and had a number of bills under consideration. Mr. Schaffel, will you please read the report?
April 28, 2026. Mr. President, your committee of the whole begs leave to report has had under consideration the following attached bills being the second reading thereof, makes following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 162 as amended, Senate Bill 23 as amended, Senate Bill 93 as amended, Senate Bill 155 as amended, Senate Bill 146 as amended, passed in second reading in order engrossed and placed in the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 70, House Bill 1210, House Bill 1113, House Bill 1313, laid over until April 29, 2026, and retaining their place in the calendar.
Senator Henriksen.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of the report.
The motion is the adoption of the committee of the whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, the committee of the whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 162 as amended, 23 is amended, 93 is amended, 155 is amended, 146 is amended, passed second reading, order of gross place account of third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 70, House Bill 1210, 1113, and 1313, laid over until 4/29/2026, retaining their place on the calendar. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Having voted on the prevailing side, I move for the reconsideration of Senate Bill 166.
The motion is the reconsideration of Senate Bill 166. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and that motion is adopted and reconsideration is granted. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title of Senate Bill 166.
Senate Bill 166 by Senators Benavidez and Kipp and Representative Goldstein concerning school board member disqualifying convictions.
Senator Benavidez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Senate Bill 166 be approved on third reading and final passage.
The motion is the approval of Senate Bill 166 on third reading and final passage. Are there any no votes? Senators, Mr. Minority Leader. Kirkmeyer, Frizzell, Rich, Pelton B, Baisley, Bright, Liston, Zamora Wilson, Carson, Pelton R, Catlin, Henriksen, with a vote, once again, of 21 ayes, 13 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused. Senate Bill 166 is passed. Co-sponsors. Consideration of governor's appointments, consent calendar. Mr. Schaffler, please read the appointments listed on the consent calendar.
Members of the Colorado Brain Injury Trust Fund Board, effective July 1st, 2025, for terms expiring June 30th, 2028. Rebecca Wassel of Pueblo, Colorado, reappointed. Caitlin Hayes of Inglewood, Colorado, appointed. Kathy Harden of Arvada, Colorado, appointed. Jennifer Medina of Denver, Colorado, appointed. Tobin Wright of Swink, Colorado, appointed. Effective July 1st, 2026, for term expiring June 30th, 2029. Shanice Maloof of Denver, Colorado, reappointed.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for all the appointments on consideration of governor's appointment consent calendar, which is Rebecca Wazel of Pueblo, Caitlin Hayes of Inglewood, Kathy Harden of Arvada, Jennifer Medina of Denver, Tobin Wright of Swink, and Shanus Maloof of Denver for the Colorado Brain Injury Trust Fund Board.
Any discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the confirmation of the appointments on the consent calendar. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, and 1 excused, those appointments are confirmed. Signing of bills.
The President has signed House Bill 1238, 1244, 1257, 1259, 1293, 1294, 1295, 1296, 1297, 1303, 1305, 1311.
Did I? That's crazy. Yes, right. Announcements. Senator Kipp.
Thank you. Members of Senate Finance Committee, we will be meeting today at 2 p.m. in SCR 357 to hear SB 26-161, SB 26-164, SB 26-1346, and SB 26-1338. See you there.
Very good. Senator Amabile.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Joint Budget Committee is actually meeting today. Get out of town, across the street even. And indeed, it's a good question. But we are going to meet at some point this afternoon. And if you want to come over, you can.
Very good. Senator Wallace.
Thank you, Mr. President. The State Veteran and Military Affairs Committee will be meeting at 2 o'clock in the Old Supreme Court to hear a Veterans Board confirmation, DPA confirmation, and House Bill 1252.
Very good. Senator Mullica.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Capital Development Committee will be meeting tomorrow at 8:40 and 3:57. The committee will consider a property transaction proposal from CPW.
Very good. Senator Cutter.
Thanks, Mr. President. We are adding to our calendar tomorrow in Transportation and Energy, Senate Bill 182.
Very good. And Senator Henriksen.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Business, Labor, and Technology Committee will be meeting at Senate Committee Room 352 at 2 o'clock p.m. for consideration of House Bill 1207 and House Bill 1010.
Very good. Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just wanted to take the opportunity to recognize a couple of friends of mine from the San Luis Valley, Steve and Martin. It's not Steve Martin, it's Steve Heckathorn and Martin Friedman. If you guys stand, Steve has been a friend for 50 plus years. We rode the school bus together. He's the best man at my wedding. Had a 65th birthday last Saturday up here. It's just a pleasure. They have enjoyed themselves immensely coming to the Capitol for the first time and spending the day with us here on the floor. So welcome, Steve and Martin.
Welcome, welcome to the Senate. Further announcements. Senator or not, Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, we will be recessing as we need to read some bills across the desk, so there's no need to return. I move that we recess until 1 p.m. today.
Give her the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have the aye and the no, but the aye has it. That's correct. And the Senate will recess until 1 p.m. today.